Good evening, dear sisters and brothers. Welcome to the healing. Welcome to the BHED session with Swadhyaya today. And we have been discussing about the subtle theme of the ego in the last few days. And today we are going to reflect further on the vital truth tonight that ego is not merely something to fight against, but something to define. When softened and aligned with the heart, it becomes an instrument of spiritual growth rather than an obstacle. We can think of an ego as a mirror. It reflects where we are in our inner journey. When the ego is raw and untamed, it distorts reality. We see ourselves at the center, and the world becomes a stage where we crave validation, recognition, and control. And this distorted ego is what leads to conflict, resentment, and disharmony. But when we refine it, the same ego becomes transparent, like a clean mirror reflecting the truth. It supports our individuality without separating us from the others. It allows us to act with confidence while remaining rooted in humility. Ego then is not destroyed but purified. So it becomes a channel for the divine rather than a barrier. Taking an example from the daily life, you can consider two individuals. One who insists on their way in every conversation, unable to listen. Their relationships suffer and their spiritual journey stalls because the heart is clouded by self importance. The other person, equally talented, approaches life with openness. They share their ideas firmly, yet are ready to yield when wisdom from another shines through. Their ego does not block, but rather supports harmony. This simple difference shows us why refinement of ego is essential, not only for peaceful living, but for rising higher in spirituality. The heartfulness practices are the practical tools which helps refine the ego very gently, day by day. The meditation connects us to the source, reminding us that we are the instruments of a greater flow, not the doers. Cleaning helps us to remove the heaviness of pride, superiority, vices, judgments that silently feed the ego. And prayer helps dissolve arrogance, bringing a natural softness where we surrender the self to the divine will. As Daji often reminds us, true progress begins when the ego bows to the heart. In this state of life, there is no longer my achievement, but rather His grace. This subtle shift is the cornerstone of the spiritual evolution. As always, we request you to share the invitation of heartfulness master classes and being heartful every day with your friends and family. And now, returning to the inspirational reading for this week, which is from the article Into the Great Unknown by beloved Taji. Like Jedi Knights, we need to become worthy of surrendering to God. We cannot surrender by will and effort of the ego. Instead, when we immerse ourselves in God through meditation with transmission and study ourselves so that we let go of unwanted habits and cultivate noble habits, eventually the ego dissolves into purity, its essence. We become that vast emptiness of the ultimate. God realization and self realization are one and the same thing. The great Saint Kabir wrote beautiful poetry about this. In one poem, he says, Narrow is the lane of love. Two will never fit. When I was, the beloved was not. Now he is, I am not. Rumi also wrote about it. For example, if in thirst you drink water from a cup, you see God in it. Those who are not in love with God will see only their own faces in it. Both poets are describing the state of surrender where the I has disappeared. It seems so far away from a world that is in crisis because human beings are still so I focused, where many have not even reached the state of we consciousness of human brotherhood. Yet beyond the we is thou, the beginning of the realm of God. This is where we embark upon the journey into the great unknown. Before that, everything is preparation. There is a story about the Buddha that illustrates this very well. For many years, he struggled to attain enlightenment through self effort. He tried everything. He once said, who knows what sorts of austerity and penance were undergone by me in expectation of even a trace of the fragrance of the state of nirvana. At long last, the state I had long cherished was achieved. How much time it took, and after how many days the desired goal was acquired. I practiced a lot, underwent so many troubles, fought against the rush of irrelevant thoughts, and cleaned up shrubs and bushes. Ultimately, it was when he relaxed his efforts, when he surrendered, that he experienced enlightenment. Its efforts were the preparation. He became the Buddha when he let go and surrendered. It was then that the light of realization came to my fortune. On arriving at it, all obstructions dropped off. Calmness then prevailed in the mind, and there was immense peace all over. To tell the truth, that is the fragrance of pure nirvana. If you explore the inner world of enlightened beings like the Buddha, you will find the void, infinite space, and stillness. Babuji describes it as more of less and less. The roots of enlightenment arise from absolute surrender. Through letting go, through surrender, comes the realization of God. But that is not the end. Ultimately, when there is oneness, unity, and mergence, all the above simply dissolves. Dear sisters and brothers, with this, we have completed the reading of the article Into the Great Unknown by beloved Daji. Let us take a few moments and allow the words of this article to settle into your heart as seeds of wisdom, trusting that they will unfold their meaning in their own time. And let us now prepare ourselves for the universal prayer and Friday 9 p.m. meditation with beloved Daji. All brothers and sisters are being filled with love and devotion, and real faith is growing stronger in them. सभी भाई बहन प्रेम और भक्ति से भर रहे हैं और उनमें सच्ची श्रद्धा दृढ़ होती जा रही है. May we all be united in the remembrance of the divine, so that love, peace, and harmony may fill every heart. Dear sisters and brothers, before resting tonight, let us look back on the day and notice where the ego stepped aside. Were you able to listen, to yield, or to act without seeking recognition? Be grateful for these glimpses of refinement. For the instance where the ego was dominant, simply surrender them in prayer and welcome tomorrow as another chance to nurture a more balanced self. With a sincere heart, resolve not to repeat these mistakes again, and let your resolve for tomorrow be to respond with openness and humility in similar situations. Dear sisters and brothers, thank you for joining tonight's reflection. Together, we are learning to transform the ego, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow for the morning session, which is going to be at 6 a.m. Wishing you all a very good night. May your night be peaceful and may your heart awaken evermore to humility and grace.